Welcome back, guys, to another video. Today we'll be seeing how I built a kitchen appliance furniture thing. So just two things. First, the first portion of when I actually put the when I started assembling it and cutting it and all that good stuff, I had originally intended of making voiceovers. I didn't like that. And instead what I ended up doing was talking about what I was gonna do for that part of the project and show you how it came out. Rather than showing you, okay, I did a little cut here, I measured here, and all that good stuff, So I lost the first two videos, or first two little portions of the recording, because it was just silent, nothing to it. And second of all, in the process of doing this, I had to go on quarantine for 2 weeks. So I was stuck, couldn't do anything, couldn't go out, couldn't get anything delivered. For some odd reason, in this area, some of the local box stores don't deliver certain material, and the material that I needed could not be delivered. So that's what happened. And on top of that, I couldn't go outside because then I would expose my family as well to whatever I had going on, right? The keyword was quarantine, so you guys can figure out what it was. But you will see the concept of how I did, like I explained what needed to be done, how I did it, and whatnot. It's about learning. So check it out. Here we have it. We made the bottom. Now, after further analysis and calculation, I'm gonna get another 2x4 and do the exact same thing I did to the legs. Rip them in half. Then get cracking with the rest of the actual drawer, like the outside paneling and all that good stuff. Definitely one big piece of advice: when you're setting your crossovers, make sure you have a level line. Make sure that when you screw it, you actually align it back to where it's supposed to be, because this one itself is actually right at the level line, but because I screwed it, it went down at an angle, I said about 2 degrees, and it ended up offsetting about 3/16 at the edge of the 2x4. This one, not so much. It was more like a 1 degree drop. And how am I gonna fix that? Really easy. All I'm gonna do is just put the two other stretchers that are gonna go out in the front and in the back, and go from there. Another big one: pay attention to what you're cutting, because when I was doing these bottom ones, I realized the mistakes that I did in the top one. They're not going to be noticeable, but they're still mistakes. So see how the rest comes out. So here it is. Got both legs completely joined. Now the next step is cutting 1x8s. Join them together like we did in other videos. This time I'm gonna attempt to use pocket holes as well. We're gonna be going in right in the middle right here. So that'd be a division right there. Definitely I will be putting, if I am not mistaken, Also right at the middle, I'm going to be joining, I'm going to be putting a midpoint here, and I think that's about it. Another little shelf is going to be right here, so drawer, little open and close shutter right here with 2 shelves. Hopefully it comes out just like I predicted and planned, but we'll see. Other than that, I'm gonna have to find out how everything turns out later on, right? That's it for today. Again, this is all 2x4s. The sides, the actual corners are 2x2s. The drawer hangers are 2x2s. It's just a 2x4 cut in half. And the only reason why these and these are straight 2x4s is because they're going to be held together. So there you have it. This is what we got, this is what we're doing, and this is what I'm hoping to be done in 2 days. Well, and so far I've only spent under 150 bucks. All wood. So quick update. I gave everything a quick sanding. The structure itself of the table. Now, using 1x6s, I'm gonna make the bottommost level, which is gonna technically take care of the first shelf. I cut around the corners of the legs, and at the same time I made marks as to where the little swing door sidewall is gonna sit on, and at the same time this other mark right here, the little tally one, that's gonna be where the edge of the shelf is gonna be. That way it doesn't have since the edges are curved, I don't want this plain edge to be sticking out with an edge and then be looking all like offset kind of thing. I don't know if you could tell this exaggerated version of it, but I don't want it to look like that. So it's gonna end up looking something like this. What I'm gonna do is hold them together. I have identified my 3 pieces. Of course they're gonna be offset, so the patterns are gonna be opposites. So it helps with the stress warpage upon attaching, and we'll see how it goes. Give you guys an update in a bit. I'm liking it. So here it is, all 3 pieces joined together. Still same cuts, but now the only thing that I made different is I actually ran the actual cut that's gonna go from this end all the way across, and same thing on this side, the edge. Okay, now we do have to rip this one. It's gonna be a little bit shorter, you know. I don't know if you can tell that little line right there, but that's where I gotta cut it, and that's what's gonna complement the bottom. Outside of that, this same piece is gonna help. Is gonna be used for the top. So every little scrap is being used as part of another piece of this project. Once I have everything cut, and I'll be able to measure the corner squares I need to cut off, measure it, do a dry fit, sand it all down, and guess what? It's ready to get put on and move on to the next step. Strength wise, pocket holes, again, we are definitely getting better. Now we just gotta work on that leveling the actual pieces of wood so they all match up. All right, other than that, it's good to go. Let's see how this piece ends up. All right. So I ended up giving it a light sanding. I put a little bit of wedges on the major gaps. That way when I do put a little bit of wood filler, it doesn't go too crazy with it. I clamped it and used brat nails to secure everything in place. So other than that, now I'm just gonna put a little bit of wood filler in some of these areas, let it cure. And from there, I'm moving on to putting the divider. And from there, continue with the rest of the drawer faces and all that good stuff. I labeled everything, the front and the back, that was supposed to, the way it's supposed to be laid out. And my smartness overpowered me, so now I don't know. I ended up covering it with this panel, with this bottom board, so now I don't know which one's which, but I do know that I left a bigger gap. I don't know if you guys can see it. Right here is a bigger gap than down here, meaning this is where the wall is going to go for the actual closet area. So, and knowing that this face looks pretty ugly, I'm pretty sure this is the back and the front is the other end. So now with that being said, I'll go ahead and carry on with the rest of the stuff that needs to get done. Okay, cool. So with these 1x8s, I'll be doing the exact same thing, joining them and gluing them with puck holes. And this will go right in the center, right here. That will be your divider. Hopefully it all works out. So let's get to it. Screws, I'm using 1/4 inch since I'm doing 1/4 inch holes. So with that, I hope I'm not messing anything up, right? Cool. Here we have it. Today the sun beat me again. So I was able to do the bottom plate, or the bottom portion. I was able to divide it. I ended up putting 2x4s here and here. I tagged the halfway point. I ended up putting brat nails, one on each corner, to secure it. Now, once it was put in place, I used a 3/8 pocket hole drill to make a straight hole on both in the front and in the back, to put a screw straight through. That way it's nice and firm from the top. On the bottom I ended up putting 3 screws, also marked at the halfway mark, and there it's drilled all the way from the bottom past the 2x4, past the 1x, straight into this perpendicular 1x. Outside of that, the only thing we have left to do is make this wall, close it up from the back. Once those two are set, maybe tomorrow I'll tackle this side, close the back, do the second shelf that's going to be at the halfway point here, start building the drawer area, and finish off with the top. Be careful when you're using brat nails, especially at an angle, trying to put it in at 45. It ended up shooting down and out from the bottom 2x4 straight into my knee. It only went in about, the brat nail itself only went in about 1/8 of an inch, but I didn't even feel it. I noticed it because my pants were pulling on it. Be very, very careful. Okay, to make the shelf, and just for demonstration purposes, we're gonna use the opposite end. The shelf's actually gonna go here, but to make the shelf, we measure the halfway point between the tallest bottom part of the base to the topmost of the drawer divider. It gave us 10 3/8. So I marked it on all 4 sides where it's gonna end up going. And then using a 2x4, I cut it to, how do I explain this? I ripped these, they used to be 2x2. I cut them in half, making them 1.5, and so that they would fit nicely inside this curved post. What I ended up doing is I took off 1/8 of an inch from the ugliest side, because they're all technically 1.5 all around. So I made one be 1.5 and the other one be slightly smaller. But we'll see how this turns out. Of course, one of them came out a little bit uneven. That's what happens when you have a table saw. But this uneven one is going to be in the back, since it's not going to be noticeable. These will be the front and the back end. And for the frontal side, just so that there's more grip when I put the base on it, I'm gonna put a 2x4 with the corners cut out, so it'll be the exact same thing as we did before. So we'll see how that turns out. Here we have it. So like I showed earlier, 2x4 cut in half, front and back. Side one is an actual 2x4. It's got Kreg holes just on the full 2x4. The other one just has brad, and screw. Top layer I made it out of 1x6s, and pretty much again, I did the method of hiding the screw using a 3/8 dowel right in there. Fits right in like a champ. I wanted to at least do this wall, but again, the sun has beat me again. Next we'll be tackling the wall, the back part of it. That way we can actually conceal it. Maybe we won't. I definitely want to knock out the drawer areas as well as the back drawer area, and then from there I want it to be done by tomorrow, but by the looks of it, I'm estimating maybe a total of 3 days to include tomorrow. Like I said earlier, a few minutes ago, I had a devastating catastrophe with one of my tools. My Kreg jig ended up breaking. I was at a loss, which was a very crucial tool for the next finishing touches. But with the power of secretness and a couple of discounts, I came up with at the local H Depot. Got a Kreg jig, finally upgraded. I love it. Definitely got to talk about this one. Clamp optional, or you can just drill it in place. So yeah, exciting. well, there we have it. This is where we left off, and somehow I kind of think that it's finally starting to come together. Again, got the walls, the back cover piece, the walls of the drawer and the back part of the drawer itself, the door, the drawer itself, and the top. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can we do it? Right on. Find out. Oh, we'll see what other challenges are coming our way. Definitely. If you're gonna commit to doing something, make sure you invest a full 8 hours. If you're only gonna use hand tools, make sure your cuts are precise. Because then you end up doing what I did in a couple of these places where I had to put a couple of wedges to fill in the gaps and to keep it from moving. It's gonna look bad? I doubt it. But thank God for wood for that, right? Alright guys, update. The exact same thing I did with the bottom paneling, the second shelf, I did with the divider and the wall. Only big problem is the sun beat me when I was doing it. It got dark and I ended up cutting along the line, thinking that I was gonna be good. And we have about 3/16 of an inch of a gap, which is not good. There's many ways I can go about it to fill in that gap, but for right now, the one thing I'm gonna do is definitely start doing the whole drawer walling area, which is these. And me and my smartness thought, hey, you know, maybe a 1x6 will cover it. Well, 1x6 measures 5.5. The hole itself measures close to 5/7/8. So right into a second pickle now. How am I gonna do this? Well, the best way that I thought about it was actually cutting a 1x6, the actual length that it needs to be for the face, splicing it together with Kreg holes, pocket hole, joining them together with pocket holes, and then cutting one portion at a certain length and then the next portion at another length, giving us the actual 6.5 width. And that's what I'm gonna have to go and do all around. For the face of the drawer, I may have to add possibly, I have a scrap piece of poplar that will fit just nice, but I don't know, we'll figure out when we get that far. But the goal for today is actually doing the walling, figuring out how we're going to cover it up, and try to repair this little gap. All the little cuts that I've been doing provided me with many size wedges that I've been using for other minor deficiencies. So we do have spares to use, but we'll see how we get to it. But now I got some ingenuity to do with this gap difference. Alright guys, so earlier I had said that the sides and all around are supposed to be a 1x6. Literally thinking 6 inches, right? So I made the gap to be 6 inches, Now remembering that 1x6s are generally 5.5 inches. How to solve that problem? Well, I cut. The way I did this one is in the front of the actual drawer. What I did was I got a 1x6, right? And pretty much I ended up ripping a 9 centimeter wedge that would be placed right on top of it. I glued it, brad nailed it, and then from there, since the bottom is the square side, I used a small 6.5 block plane to shave the bottom until I got the desired height. The actual board ended up being about 1/16 to 1/8 off. So with one pass of the block plane and the actual sander to even it out, all the roughness, I got the desired effect. So that's what we're pretty much gonna do to solve that issue. I tried it, I figured it out, and it actually worked just great. And it actually looks good. You can't even tell that it is actually pieced, like 2 pieces. One sanded, everything looks nice. So here we have it. We ended up making a 1x6 all around because of my mess up of putting it to actually 6 inches. I had to add a 1/2 inch to about 0.9 centimeters strip on the back. They are joined together or connected using dowel screws or pocket hole screws with that. So the 3 walls are already made. The actual drawer face is already made. Next up is actually making the drawer and then the base, and then we'll go from there. But there you have it. 2 more steps. Oh, and the actual door that's gonna go there. 2 more steps and we're good to go. Well, it finally stopped raining and I finally get a chance to actually move on to the next step, which is actually making the box for the drawer. Given the 11-inch drawer slides being 1/2 inch thick to make the actual box fit along with these slides, I have to take away 1/2 inch from each side, and given the wood thickness, I also have to take away a full 1.5 inches because the wood is 3/4 of an inch. And we multiply that times 2 or add them together, it gives us 1.5 inches. If we add the 2.5 inches for the actual slides, that will be a total of 2.5 inches that we have to take away from a 24 5/8 front box. So the overall box face front is going to be 22 1/8, which afterwards, once all assembled, we will be, I'll show you how it looks like, but that's pretty much it. We're also going to be using a 1x6, so let's see how it all plans out. I got the face measurements, now I just need the depth measurements, pretty much the depth, what's going to go inside. And for the depth, I'm also taking away 3/4 of an inch because of the actual face that's going to go on the drawer. So we got that to measure and see how well it all comes out to be. All right. I'm fascinated with the way the drawer came out to be. This is the squarest piece of furniture I have ever made. It is 26 1/4 from corner to corner. Perfect. The process of how I made this, I cut the pieces to size. I ended up making the drawer 1/2 inch smaller to that's with the face included. That was my mistake, but we're going with what we got, right? I ended up using corner clamps that I purchased at the local hardware store a couple years ago, and I started by putting one on each opposing corner, giving me straight edges, right? Straight squares. Once those two corners were made, I rotated the clamps to the other side, applied glued, tacked them in with a brad nailer. The wood was starting to warp because it got a little bit damp, and I had to work around the damp area, which thickened. So instead of being a regular 3/4 inch 1x6, it ended up being a 7/8 1x6, so almost a full inch. So to help with the warpage and whatnot, I had to tack in 4 nails, one on each of them, one on each face of the edges. And believe it or not, this is going to be the front of the board, which is going to have the actual face of the board on it. The next thing we're going to have to do after this is install the drawer slides, make the door, and do the top of it. Just 3 little things. Oh, quick tip. See this nice clean cut of 1/4 inch ply? I tried it and it works 100%. Here's the secret. Painter's tape. I did the drawer first because I want to beat the sunlight before it fades for me, but I left the tape here just to show you guys that the cut with a jigsaw on plywood, regardless of its thickness, can be clean. No tear on either side, no sloppy gibbery cuts. Look at that. The way this looks, it's the way it actually came out. It's a neat little trick. This is the second time I do it, and I regret not ever doing it in the past. So now I'm happy I learned it. Now for the drawer slides. So here we have it, guys. By far, I want to say this is about 95% complete. The door itself, I had to do the same addition of strip that I did on the drawer and on the covers for the drawers. This is just gonna go in there. It just needs a little more finagling to make it nice and snug before I put the hinges on. Before I do that, I am making the top portion of the table itself, or the base. I already added the handles to the drawer, and here's the actual test. I almost gave up on it, for my first drawer ever made, it turned out real great. There's little effort to be made. It closes nicely once you pull on both sides, and it opens and closes nicely when you use both handles. Right now the cement's a bit uneven, so I can wiggle this a little bit, but once I do the top, glue it all together like I've been doing with the other pieces. Glue it all together, give it a nice quick sanding, and we should be good to go as well. See how that goes. Okay, so here we have it. Top's done, just needs one last final sanding all around. Door is set, just gotta attach the inner hardware so it can actually get stuck where it needs to be. The sun beat me again. After a quick sanding, I'll be contacting the person who asked me to make this for, and we'll see exactly what she wants to do with it. So far, I'm happy with how it turned out, but we'll see. All this is 100% wood, minus the hardware, which is the drawer slides, the hinges, and of course the screws. Sick. I'll never consider that not being 100% wood, but compared to what you buy in the local stores, this is 100% wood. This is 100% wood with American grease, elbow grease. So sun beat me today after a couple of weeks out of commission, so we'll see what tomorrow brings for us. It's finally done. Managed to put one coat of stain, American walnut, 3 coats of clear on top, 2 on the front, 1 all around. Stain the inside. I managed to put hinges. Actually worked a lot better. The drawer, I'm very happy with how it turned out. As you can remember, it was kicking my butt. This one's ready to go. So to check out the hinges, these are the hinges that I ended up upgrading them with. Very happy with how they turned out. As a matter of fact, if you were to close it, you can set them up where they either close on the door can be on the inside, or you can put it on the outside of the actual panel. With the wetness, it's slightly rubbing, but it closes just right. They don't slam, they don't do anything, and I got them at Amazon. It was a great deal for 6. I think it was like $28. So definitely very happy. Well, this one's in the bag, and hopefully we can actually get into a letter holder that I'll be coming up with hidden compartments to store away keys and all that good stuff. Now that this is the biggest project I've done in a minute, now I'm gonna run back and pace myself with smaller projects now. Pretty much giveaways, gifts, and all that good stuff. So stay tuned, like, subscribe, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Again, none of this, all the products and tools that you saw here are not sponsoring me. These are all the ones that I actually own, and through research, trial and error, I've come up with better usage, better ways. And with the money that I'll be getting out of this one, I'll actually be saving it up for either a table saw, a router, or God knows what other efficient tool I need, maybe a planer. But here we have it. Catch you guys on the next one.